focus right by using a ruler. That's fine, it'll work. If it looks stupid, but it works, it's not stupid. Hi guys, my name's Michelle Keane and today I'm going to talk to you about my top 5 indoor plants that you probably won't kill. Probably. The reason I'm saying might at the start of this is I'm only doing this list based on plants that I own. I own a lot of plants, but I don't own all the indoor plants. For example, I don't own a ZZ plant, which I've heard is actually really easy to take care of. It's on the list, I haven't got one yet, sorry. When I first started with plants, I had a lot of trouble with them. I actually started with peace lily, which was the best thing ever because it's super easy to look after. And then I moved on to more complicated plants and they started dying. So, yeah. So this is a list that should help out people that have a bit of a black thumb, like I used to. Still kind of do. I'm going to call it a brown thumb. It's like between black and green. I'm working on it. And let's just jump right into it. So to start off, I have my favourite plant, golden pothos. Okay, this is also known as devil's ivy. It looks freaking sweet. I mean, look at it. It's awesome. So this plant, you can take any sort of light from filtered sunlight to pretty much full shade. Like, I've seen people keep these in the dark and they still grow. Like, they don't grow very quickly in the dark, but they do actually survive and do pretty well. This one's actually been by a window because they actually get some more golden colouring when they're next to a window and they get a lot of light, and they also grow a lot quicker. Water wise, I probably give this a water once a week, as I do with most of my plants. Just when I do water changes on the aquariums, I give them the water from that. But this plant's actually drought tolerant, so you could leave it alone, let it dry out, and it will probably still be okay. Propagation wise, you might be able to see there's some little, no, it's not gonna, I'm gonna have trouble focusing, am I? There's some little roots, actually, I'll do a close up, hanging off this plant. And what you can actually do is pin these branches to the soil and it will send out more roots. You can also just trim off a branch that has maybe 3 or more leaves and put it in some water, as I've done in some of my aquariums. It's really good for filtration, so get onto that if you have an aquarium. And it will send out roots straight away. So it's pretty good. Probably take, not straight away, it'll probably take about a week, but yeah, it's really good for propagating. It's pretty much my favourite plant. I've never had an issue with it, even in no light. It just grows really well and it looks really cool. I'm waiting until this branch starts to trail down and look really sick, but we'll see how that goes. So the second one on my list is very big, so bear with me. Oh, I really need to get like smaller versions of these plants. Is Monstera deliciosa? It's a Swiss cheese plant. I don't know. Latin's not my strong suit. So this plant, you've probably seen it from a lot of, I don't know, tropical designs? I'm not sure. That leaf there is a really good example of it. So this plant prefers bright indoor light, so it's good to have it near a window and it will thrive. I had this in the like a shady area for a while. It didn't die, but it didn't go well, and I've put it next to a window for about, it's probably been about 6 months now, and it started with like 3 leaves and now it's got this. Water wise, it's recommended to water it when the top 4 centimeters of the soil is dry. I water this once a week with all the other plants. But it's also good to use a well-draining pot. So for this one I've actually got it in terracotta, which soaks up most of the water. They don't like to keep the roots too wet, so just make sure it's draining well. Propagation wise, you can cut from the stem and put that in water in the soil and it will grow roots. It also sends out these aerial roots, And just a note to put them into the soil when you see them just flying all over the place. But you can use those aerial roots to plant it into new soil. For me, this is a pretty plant. It's pretty cool looking, it's very pretty. And it grows really fast when it's happy, so just keep it happy. I've never had an issue since it's been near the window, and that's just what's worked for me. So the next one on my list I mentioned before, and it's the first indoor plant I've ever had. I actually bought 2 of these. The other one's in my room. It's looking a bit straggly at the moment, but it's growing well. I've taken some propagation, some cuttings out of it for propagation. So this is a peace lily, and it's a really cool plant. It's really like lush. Looks really nice in any sort of space. Light-wise, it's recommended filtered sunlight. Don't expose them to really bright, harsh rays like the noon sunlight and stuff like that, because it will burn. See, I've got an example there. Keep the soil moist, but I mean, if you forget to water it, what will actually happen is whenever there's something wrong with this plant, the leaves droop, and it's very noticeable. And if you just give it a water or give it a bit more sunlight, it'll perk up like within the day. So it's a very forgiving plant. Propagation wise, you can actually cut a node out from the root, so all these little leaves are gathered into nodes, and you can just break one off. Or use scissors, be a good gardener, use scissors. And you can just, it'll have roots on it, just plant it in soil or water. This one's also good for aquariums if you want to add some extra filtration to it. And yeah, for me, this is like, it's a really easy plant to grow. It grows quite fast if you give it some nice light. Really easy to propagate. And it also grows some really pretty white flowers. Sadly, I don't have any on my plants at the moment, but if you give them a decent amount of sunlight, they will actually put up some white flowers. It's really nice. Alrighty, the next one on my list was actually a gift to me from my boss at the restaurant I waitress at. It's a Chinese restaurant, so they have a lot of jade plants. So these are really cute looking plants. So it's recommended to give them 4 hours of direct sunlight, but I've grown these in pretty low light and they've been fine. They still send out new growth. It's just a bit slower growth, but yeah, they do alright. With the water, keep them moist, let them dry out between waterings in winter, and make sure they're not near any cool drafts. They really don't like it, but otherwise probably one of the easiest plants you can grow. And they'll start dropping leaves if they haven't had enough water and such like that. They're really easy to propagate. So this was actually a cutting that my boss gave me. She gave me a bunch of cuttings. She was like trimming her plants and she's like, oh, would you like some cuttings? And I was like, sure, I'll take all the cuttings. I love plants, give them all. So this was a cutting, and what she's done is you just cut it and just on a stem, try to give it a decent amount of leaves, so maybe somewhere there would be okay still. Just put it in some soil and it'll grow roots. It's amazing. I love this plant. I want to, like, when this gets bigger and turns into, like, they turn into little trees, they're really cute. I just want to, like, keep propagating it and get heaps. Also, it's like a little superstition thing. So you can put these plants near your front door, and it's said to attract luck and prosperity into your home. So my parents don't believe in all that. I still live at home at the moment. But I've got one of these plants at the front door and it seems to be doing a pretty good job. So the last one on my list is spider plant. So these plants, they prefer bright indoor light, so keep them near a window, but mine seem to do okay in very low light conditions. I actually need to give this one a little bit more light because it's been in pretty much darkness, but it's actually got some new growth coming into it, so if it works. But don't let them burn in the hottest portion of the day. They will burn like the peace lilies. So, you know, morning light, afternoon, like late afternoon light's fine. Just, you know, not noon and... There's a minor bird outside my window. Okay. I mean, you're beautiful, but please, shh. Okay, you're just gonna have to deal with that, guys. It's fine, it makes it more natural. So with watering these guys, water them just before the soil becomes dry, let the water drain out, and they'll do fine. With propagating, so these guys actually send out little baby plants. So if you have them in a hanging pot, they look absolutely cool when they got the babies, because the babies hang down and you've got these little spiders. It's really cool. But they send out, I don't know if you call them runners, but yeah, they have a stem and then they have the baby on the end. And what you can do is you can cut the stem and plant the baby, and it will grow fine. It's really cool. This one sadly hasn't had any babies yet, but I think it's because I'm keeping it in quite low light conditions. But we've actually got a bunch of these in our side path alongside the house, which is actually just out this window. And they grow like crazy. Like, it's really shaded, it's quite a shaded area. And they grow like crazy. There are babies everywhere. They've like taken over all the ground cover. It's insane. It's really cool. But I mean, that's pretty low, like it's not too low light, but it's very shaded, so they do alright in shaded conditions. I just love how it makes the little baby plants. It's really cool. It's a very interesting way of like reproducing, is that the word? I don't know. But I don't know, it looks really cool. You gotta, there's probably like a photo on the internet of like a hanging plant with the little spider babies. Look it up, it's pretty cool. So that concludes my top 5 plants that you probably won't kill for indoors. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you liked it, and let me know in the comments if there's any plants, indoor plants, that you thought should be on this list. Bear in mind, these are just plants that I have. The list was made around that. I don't have ZZ plants. Sorry, they should be on the list. I don't have one. I'm sorry, I can't like vouch for it. But if you've got any suggestions like that, comment down below, let us know why they're easy. Yeah, that'd be good. I'd like some more plants. You might give me some ideas. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!